Yeah.
Okay, well, we're live now, so we'll call it to order at 2:03. I'd like to start by, this is the committee of the whole meeting. And let's start by acknowledging that we are privileged to meet on the unceded ancestral territories of the Squamish and Stallion Nation. With that, we're getting agenda recommendation. The minutes of the committee of the whole meeting, and that the amended agenda of this meeting be approved. Sorry about that. I see highlighted words, and that's where my eyes went. So the agenda, the amended agenda of this meeting. Thank you, Cynthia. Second for that. Thank you, Rachel. Objections? And none of them that's carried. Now we have some minutes there. The minutes of the committee of the whole meeting held on February 8th, 2023. Yeah, Rachel. Objections? That the minutes of the finance committee meeting held on February 8th, 2023 be adopted and accepted. Thank you. It's different. Tricky. So you're doing is keeping us sweet. Any objections? Hearing none, that we put that. So that brings us to our trustee items. Melissa, you are
Right. So I emailed you all a letter from the Signal Hill PAC chair, Sandra, and we've noticed over the past couple of years that people speed really fast in front of Signal Hill. And Permanent Secondary recently, because of the community that's right in front of them, recently got a sign that lights up when you're speeding and gives you a side face. So I have been speaking with the PAC and I was like, we need one of these for in front of Signal Hill. Like I had someone pass me, go around me doing 50 in the 30 zone in the middle of the day. Like I wish I had a camera on my car. It's ridiculous. There's kids everywhere, there's dogs and humans everywhere. So what I'm asking for today is permission to look into the cost of getting one of these installed and having it put on school property. And I do know that there is a variation in the speed zone there because it is a playground zone as well as a school zone. So it does change with dusk to dawn sort of thing. There's a bit of an argument. And I have found that there are signs that can be changed and adjusted based on the time of day. If the school is opposed to having it on the school grounds, then I am willing to speak with the Ministry of Transport as well to see if we can have it closer to the road off the school property if you don't want it there. So so that's what I'm asking for, is permission to put some sort of radar on the Signal Hill property.
Rebecca, may I?
Yeah, are you finished, Melissa?
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, Melissa. I think that this is super important, but here's what I want to say about it. I think that we can have a role in these kinds of situations in advocacy and in connecting with organizations that need to have these issues brought to their attention. But I feel very strongly that we need to be, MOTI needs to be engaged. If we immediately solve problems that should rest with other organizations, we are perpetuating the problem of the other organization not doing the thing that should be done. If speed is an issue in that area, that is an MOTI issue. You know, we've had this problem in Britannia Beach with bus stops and children, and speeding by bus stops, and have been working with the Ministry of Transportation to address that issue. The school district has such a limited pot of funding to deal with that we cannot address what may be shortcomings of another ministry every time it comes up. So we need to absolutely exhaust all other options in terms of advocacy to say, hey, ministry, here is a problem in this community. This needs to be addressed. I also know that the District of Squamish within Squamish has worked with community to put in place like the happy and sad faces. So I just think that the school district might not be the first organization to jump up and foot the bill. I think that MOTI and the municipality definitely have a role to play. And I don't know how much conversation you've had with them, Melissa, but just from the work that I've done with talking to the Ministry of Transportation about speed around bus stops, and they have been somewhat responsive. I think we really need to not jump too quickly to solve a problem that rests with another ministry or another arm of government.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear what you're saying, and I'm not asking for money from the board. I know that Sandra had put that in there, and that's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking if it can be put on school property.
Okay, hear from staff. Yeah, so thank you for bringing it forward, and thank you, Celeste, for the clarification. You're absolutely right. So my suggestion would be that you would want to ask staff. So we have our district facilities person he can contact the MOCI. And what I would suggest that the board might want to consider is drafting, or we could draft it for you and then make it for your approval, drafting a letter of support from the Board of Education for MOTI to look into some better signage, such as the happy sad face as we have at Brackendale Elementary. So that would be an initiative that you would ask Minister of Transportation on behalf of the school district to support and to look into. So that'd be my
Yeah, I think that's,
suggestion.
I think that would be lovely. Thank you.
And I think that's why we asked them to here is to see if the board is in support.
Mhm.
Starts.
Yeah.
And then I would also suggest contacting ICBC.
Yeah.
They often have speed watch programs and we'll give out boards.
We did do that for a little while, and we also had, remember Constable Cardboard, what was his name?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, so he was there for a little while, and it seems to be not so much locals, but a lot of transportation people, delivery trucks.
Workers and stuff.
Yeah, and
I've been
acceptance
past
seemed to
on that
happen.
stretch 4 or 5
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, it
It's
makes,
just blasting by.
yeah, it makes you really upset.
Right in the driveway and sitting on
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah.
And my daughter posted a photo on the Kevin Forum and then she got in trouble for it.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That's-
why defend somebody for doing that? Does anyone have any? Yeah,
I was just going to say, maybe we should take this advice then and ask for a draft motion to be created and sent along to OT.
MOT, yeah.
Ministry of Administrative and Infrastructure, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I would support that. I think that if we do ask them to improve the situation there.
Well, in the email from the pack, it looked like they've been trying to talk to MTI.
Yeah, we're hitting walls.
Yeah. I concur, but I'd also suggest putting it on to the RCMP in the area and also ICBC.
Yeah.
When Lions Bay went through this similar issue, we tagged all three and just.
We asked the RCMP to be there quite often, and occasionally they do in the morning sit there, but they can't be there all day. We share the RCMP with Whistler, essentially, you know. We just don't have the manpower.
But if they're, sorry if I may, if their advocacy as well, because they might have capacity to be putting in when their staff sergeants are communicating, so.
So it sounds like, do we need a motion or we just have that staff? It sounds like Rachel, you're in agreement. So it sounds like everyone's supporting.
Thanks.
Celeste, I think you were supportive. You just were questioning the financial component.
Totally. Yeah, no, and I totally agree. It is absolutely infuriating. I mean, we had a speed limit here of 80 kilometers an hour by a park. It's infuriating. Yeah, totally get it.
They're everywhere in Whistler now. Like
Mhm.
No, and it's because they changed the speed limit and all the neighborhoods to 30. So we automatically have one at Spring Creek. And,
Yeah.
It's very, very helpful to see those things.
And is that the village that put that in?
I don't know.
It must be the meeting.
Yeah,
So
so
yeah,
it's,
council
yeah.
decision to lower the speed limit, yeah.
Yeah. so do I contact Ian now from here from?
No, that's,
It's
you
just
you pass that over to, so the committee's asked that you pass it over to staff and then we'll
Report back.
report back.
Perfect, all
I
right.
even come back with a draft letter for you to take a look at for your signature and then we pass it on.
Perfect.
I'll do that for you.
Okay, thank you. all.
All right, so moving on from just, unless anyone have anything else for trustee items? Any other roll? No. Okay, then for no presentations, so that brings us to our information items. Trustee calendar, upcoming events. Yeah. There. So, just several days where, great. In our technology, the next rolling Monday is March. And there was another change to the school running plan. So we specifically added, maybe their own one, that's also includes the top limits. And so as a result, we had to reshuffle a number of trustees because of that addition. The school learning plans are in the agenda. And I just wanted to check in to see if anybody would like me to go over who's supposed to be there or if you know, the March.
So calendar.
Yeah.
But it's, Squamish Elementary hasn't been cancelled, and it's just, I've just been re-expect signed, but.
That's right. Anyway, so if you haven't had a chance to look, and just let us know if there's any. issues or anything before you guys-
And sorry, where are we looking on our calendar?
In the agenda, there's a live link that says school planning,
Okay,
at the bottom of this section.
thank you.
I don't know exactly. This was also sent out. Prior.
Okay, so probably
I
just.
saw it. Yeah, it was sent on the agenda on Friday, but. If you take a look at it and if there's something that you had for, please let us know, because if you didn't find in your calendar, I'm not that. We didn't notified of it, so you need to let us know. Oh, that. Personally needs to know. And then, so April pending. And then there's really one more change. So. Policy was originally scheduled for people there. And we have a new date for that one. It looks like it's going to be on March 31st, so, the reason for that is that, we're moving for Fridays, but. And it's gonna be over Zoom, so originally that was scheduled for Rachel and Rebecca on March 31st. And so I'm not sure if you were able to spend a minute on that date, or we should have person. I know you're. But Zoom, so it's on.
Yeah, so I can do it.
You're able to make this one? Okay. Excellent. So look forward to that time, updated. Invite to come. Yeah, so we're just. Yeah. Okay. So Ash can send that out tomorrow. Okay. And then the next item is, there's gonna be another trustee orientation session in the evening on Thursday, March 30th. And then we'll have April 5th agenda meeting. And then we have, the next big thing is our BCSTA AG. And that's April 27th to April 30th at the Weston Bayshore in Vancouver. I believe that they're going to be opening up the hotels to the gate. So we're going to be trying to book those as soon as possible.
Technology.
Hopefully.
Well, hopefully we can get into the best.
Yeah.
The West End.
Yeah, so about available to book the whole. So I just wanted to check in to see if anybody knows right now if they are unable to attend. That's, Rachel. not able to attend.
Danielle, that's the April 26th to 29th.
It's about 27th and 30th.
Yeah, no, I'm unfortunately already registered to go to a conference in Victoria on those dates, so I won't be able to attend either.
Neither will Turpin. Lisa, Celeste, and Rachel unable to attend. Right?
I'm not sure if I will be able to because Bryce works nights on that week.
Okay, so why don't we'll book you a hotel room and then you can just let us know.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
Bring your kids.
That's perfect. Thank you. And then I can see if I can get grammar or something.
Sure.
Will they be back?
Yeah, they're back. I picked them up.
Oh, they're already back?
Friday.
I had lunch with Melissa's in-laws in Mexico.
Oh, nice.
I know it starts in the evening of the 27th, correct?
No, it actually starts at 1 o'clock.
Well, at 1 o'clock? Okay, no problem.
On Thursday.
Okay, no
Yeah.
problem.
So the pre-conferences goes as somebody was asking, it starts at 1 to 4:30. And then there'll be a little break, when we grab dinner, and then there'll be a keynote reception meeting that evening, since usually it's. Kind of just like after the keynote speaker.
On the 26th, are we doing a ed session or is that just, is he his placeholder? So there's nothing.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. We've actually decided not to.
Okay.
It might be too much information. The month that week already.
Yeah.
We're gonna be there, so.
Yeah, we're gonna give you that day back. We will only respect that. The time
Okay.
For families and folks, would be a big ask for sure.
Perfect.
That was a big question. And then on Friday, we have branch breakfast. Branch breakfast, and then the learning new candidate speeches. And then we have booked a dinner for us at the, I believe that's happening there. And then we'll get for girls. Talked already.
I swear that there are some districts that must have an in on the dates and they get in there right away. We're gonna be the in crowd soon, don't worry.
So we will,
You're in advance.
so we will stay at the West End then,
Oh,
because now we've got the backwards.
yeah,
walk.
exactly, exactly. That's true.
So,
I understand what you're saying.
cross my fingers.
Yeah, it's a super valuable event. I've been many times and I think I always come out having learned quite a bit and like just passing motions and doing that advocacy work, I think is really important. So anyway, carry on. I'm interrupting you.
No, it's all good. So on the Saturday, you'll hear, there'll be a provincial council breakfast, I believe, and that's just
Mhm.
for yourself something to attend. And then you'll hear like about the motions and all that stuff on Saturday. And then I think usually it wraps up on Saturday, but it's actually can go into Sunday and yeah, so we'll have to decide that day. We'll book a hotel room for the Saturday and then we'll have to decide that day probably by 11. We think is gonna want the next.
Okay.
Just keep that in mind. And yeah, so that's it for BCSTA. AGM. Any questions on that? For anyone? The next item is there's a Canadian School Board Association conference. There's info linked to it in the agenda. So this conference is taking place in Banff. It's July 3rd to 5th. And we just wanted to open up to see if anyone's interested in attending. I'm gonna practice this by saying that the conference is gonna be quite expensive, like it's a hotel or crazy expensive in Banff. The travel costs will be expensive, so we may have to limit the amount of people attending, so ultimately it'll be up to Chris and Rebecca and myself to decide how many people are gonna want to attend, but I just wanted to open up to see if
was interested in attending, if anybody else was interested in attending, we want the discussion.
I think I already mentioned that. Cynthia.
Yeah, I would
is
be
as
interested
well.
in going to that this year, yeah.
When I went last year to the, it was in Saskatoon and the value in it was really quite, I was quite surprised, actually.
Yeah.
Because some conferences just don't have that. And then from there, they brought speakers to our academy that came from the work there.
Mhm.
And to see how we are doing on a national level was quite impressive, especially with our Indigenous.
Mhm.
So it was really quite impressive. And this Banff one was supposed to be held in 2020, but that shut down because of COVID.
And Rebecca, you want to?
Yeah, so I think I mentioned that both Cynthia and I as chair and vice chair were interested. And then you guys were mentioning that there's some potential budgetary constraints, so I don't know
What
if
is
there
it
were,
called?
it's the Canadian School Board Association.
Yeah, it's right in, it's like linked right into that. If you wanted to find something, there's information on it. So. If anybody else is interested, I guess you can send an email to myself, Rebecca and Chris, and then we can. But as of right now, is there anybody that's interested?
That would be, I can't know about items.
I think it sounds amazing, but not if there's budgetary restrictions. Nothing to just get notes from them.
So yeah, just send an email to us if you decide that it's something you're interested in. It is coming at the end of after the July long weekend.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and just so you know, our students are looking in hotels because it is a long weekend, is they're looking up very quickly, so it's possible that you and you might be.
well, they did already say there was limited space.
Oh, that's already booked. A hotel is already booked for that.
Oh, really?
I think we can share. So the quoted cost, which is booked, is $230 to $250 a night plus tax, which is what it costs, but because it's outside of that and it's Banff and it's a long weekend, $500-600 and up
And then-
per night. So it
There's
is
a
it is
hostel
something
right
for us
by
to
the-
consider.
The Banff Center.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
The Canadian Whisper.
And that's with the discounts, because on the site, they were saying there were discounts.
That's right, for some of the hotels, so we're happy to do more searching. Again, we don't want to dissuade anyone if they're interested, because it is a valuable experience. I think what we're saying is, for financial responsibility to the district, if it's 7 people, it's gonna be thousands, so we just may want to have a discussion once we get other interest to say, hey, is it make sense to send 3, can we send 4? And just get a good sense of who's interested, so still let us know.
Okay,
We want to consider everyone for sure. We just want to be transparent and say there is more significant cost than what it says on the link, unfortunately.
Is this an annual event?
Yeah.
At different places?
yeah.
Yeah, so.
And our president of the BCSTA
Mhm.
is the vice
Oh, wow.
chair of that. She was reelected last year.
So don't feel deterred like it is gonna be expensive, but if it's something that you're interested in, just send us an email. We can have a conversation.
We do have a budget set
Mhm.
aside for the board for our own professional development. And it's sounding like we have people dropping from not attending AGM.
True.
So there could be extra more budget left as a result.
Okay. Yeah, and yeah, let us know sooner than later, it's.
Well, can you book us at least?
I think we have books. But
Yeah.
I'll have to-
Free?
3 rooms? We'll look at, oh, yes. We'll touch base. with you.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So the next item is trustee bios. And there was an email sent to all of you. Anyway, so we received a couple of bios from the trustees, and we're still requesting to get it right up. Work on.
I know, I'm a bad
Send them to Archie.
girl.
You can send them to like Archie or Jen, whoever, it'll get to the right.
Whatever, just get them in.
Don't send them to me. I'll miss them.
Don't send it to
It'll be a draft. today.
Way to own it.
That's how I'm gonna say it, yep.
Yeah, so we can get it to us as soon as possible, I think. And also you can- So that's good. And one more thing that's not on here. I just wanted to mention that we are trying to look at some dates for California visit. So I know like a lot of the existing trustees have been there and we're welcome to join too, but we think it'd be a really good opportunity for the new trustees to go see what California is like.
Absolutely.
And it's a far drive and it's kind of a rough drive, so I think I can't remember, oh, yes, we might have a date picked out, it's possibly May 31st. And that's a day we already sort of have blocked off as a second or an extra board meeting in our May. So if you can all take a look at your calendars and let us know if that date works for you or if you can attend.
So for all the trustees?
I
Or
think,
just
like,
the
it's
new?
Open to all trustees.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just think it's valuable and we can't think about how far and how rough that road is because our students travel it.
Mhm.
So,
And our
I
teachers.
think you meant from
And our-
Swan.
Yeah, I
Right,
just for
from-
people to
from
know it's
board
not like,
office.
it's a far drive. Don't
Beautiful
expect it to
drive.
be like, it's beautiful.
Mhm.
But it's not a good drive in the winter. It's better to figure it out. Do it.
now there's going up the valley or out to Darcy.
We got this.
We got it.
Yeah.
I don't think that you.
I don't think,
Yeah.
it's almost like.
And
a
that-
luggage
Yeah.
bag.
They're like a,
Yeah.
Unless you had a, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless I have my spinal cord and stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, no, there's like some weight pockets. Yeah, okay. You can base one. Okay, that sounds great.
We landed helicopter.
you can take a boat.
No, I can't,
So,
can't vote either.
That's probably even rougher.
Yeah.
I've done that jet boat ride.
Yeah, and so just as I mentioned, if some of you can't attend any meetings, make sure you let us know. Because we're not getting notified of the clients that you have. Sometimes
That's good
when
to know.
something, glitch. Yeah, just let Archie and I know. And then you can pass on. We'll remove it.
That explains when I say that. I
Yeah.
decline this million.
That's great.
We just really wanted you.
Maybe we keep asking, she'll say yes.
Well, I'm coming on May 31st.
I just want to do like a quick check-in with everybody on their availability. I know some people are gonna be away and stuff over the next few months, so Rebecca, what's the dates you're away?
I'm leaving after AGM.
And do you know when you're coming back?
No, but I'm available as long as I have service.
Okay,
Just so you guys know, I have an opportunity. A friend is driving her motorhome back from Malaki to Canada. And I'm gonna ride with her in the motorhome and her two dogs and cat.
that sounds good.
I know, right? So,
I'm away June, I think the 8th. with meeting. Seven.
I'll be zooming for April and May. From Mexico,
From where?
Mexico.
June meetings 14.
Oh, I will also be away on the 14th. Right, I missed those Mondays.
I have no life, I'm here. I'm
Hey.
gonna miss next month I'll miss our meeting.
April,
Yeah, April, I know,
and I will miss June.
I'll miss April. I have to go to Ontario and see my parents. I got too excited about a $125 return plane ticket.
Cool.
I don't.
And then I booked it and then I looked at the date. I was like, oh, that's a bad idea, but $125.
We get it.
Okay, so anyway,
Yeah,
regrets.
did you
sorry.
put the June 14? I'm away.
Yeah. No.
Okay,
Okay.
the conference.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, okay. Well, then our next item's break, so.
All right.
that it? Okay, we're back, but thank you, Chris, for the reminder. BCSTA, Provincial Council report, Cynthia.
That's me. All right. Can you hear me, Celeste?
Yeah.
Okay, terrific. All right. It was fantastic. It was my first time attending provincial council, and I know we don't have too much time left in this meeting, so I'm just going to quickly read through the notes that I wrote. And here it goes. It opened up on Friday night with a presentation from Bruce Anderson, who is the CEO of BCPC, and he explained how BCPC worked and how they can help our boards. If you're not aware right now, they're the bargaining agent for the education sector. He reported that the recent bargaining went very well and felt like there is a real improved relationship between the BCTF and BCPC. So that's really good news, because that was the goal of going into this round of bargaining, to really improve that relationship. They've got a new strategic plan for the 2023-25 year, and everything they do is done through the lens of student success. So an excellent organization. There's a new BCPC pilot program coming out. Yeah, that's all I had on that. There's lots of questions and answers that to Bruce, and a lot of it centered around the issue of affordability in the province and what we're doing to basically help staff find places to live, which I'm not really sure is within the mandate of BCPC, but there was definitely significant conversation about that from everyone in the room. So that problem in the recruitment and retention realm is affecting everyone. So that was him. Carolyn Brody, she spoke on the topic of retention and recruitment, and she said that she seems to feel that should be a sentence period here. So retention and recruitment, and her emphasis when she spoke was that they're working hard to streamline the process for certifying teachers, and she feels that due to changes in the certification process that we should see some improvements there soon. Chris Beneteau, he also spoke, and I didn't write down what his role was and I forgot, but he was really quite entertaining and lovely to hear from. And he made it clear, speaking on staff compensation grids, that these should be increases are performance bases. Any increase over 10% must be approved by PSAC. They're working on an exempt staff handbook, and that they're in the process of reconvening the working groups for executive compensation, and there will be reps from BCSTA asked to join that working group. Hopefully it sounds like everything that everyone else has heard in other meetings in the past, and it all jives. Emphasized. Oh, I have this written in bold, but I've colored it green and I can hardly see it. He emphasized that if school districts want to help find solutions for housing, the best way to do this is to leverage their relationship with local mayors and councils and the UBCM. Carolyn Brody also spoke about that and believes that trustees should have more involvement at UBCM, as this is the most direct pipeline to ministers. So that was an interesting conversation, and there was quite a few people who felt in the room who felt like that building that relationship with UBCM might be advantageous for school boards. So that was interesting. Then Saturday opened up with the announcement that 34 flights had been canceled already that day. Many people were scrambling. And then there was some, if you want to ask me more about this later, I can tell you more, but for the sake of time, I'll just say that there was some addresses from Carolyn Brody. She's the chair of BCSTA, Susan Hoffman, who's the CEO. And then they did some elections with Tracy Loeffner as our new vice chair, and Allison Watson is a newly elected member of the board. I think she's from Souk. And they passed a couple of motions, one that the affordability fund be extended beyond June 30th, 23. And the other motion that passed was that the government fully fund exempt staff compensation in relation to the new BCPC grid. And wrapped up with some speakers from the Ministry of Childcare, and we had Deputy Minister Christina Zarf and Assistant Deputy Minister Patty Boyle, and they just spoke a lot on childcare in schools and working to create a wage grid for the childcare sector. From everything they said, it really sounded like our district was like doing great in our merge with the Ministry of Childcare, and that we're offering lots of services, and that, you know, I didn't think we seemed to be lagging behind in any way from what I heard them speak of and what the expectations were that they were looking for. And that was the day, the 2 days. It was great. I was glad to be there. I learned lots and it was super interesting. So
Awesome. Thank you. Chris?
If I may, I
Yeah.
just for the sake of any folk that may be listening, if I may, just the UBC, UBM.
oh, yes,
It
please.
stands for the Union of BC Municipalities.
Mhm.
So the main point there is that affordable housing and initiatives and those sorts of things are the purview of local government and municipalities, and not school
Mm.
districts. So just clarification there that the advocacy is through
Yeah.
through us, through the UBCM.
Yeah, thanks for making that perfectly clear. That's exactly how it was intended when it was spoke during the provincial council meetings.
Only because we've heard the same messaging at that superintendent's meeting. That's the only reason I know.
No, that's great. No, that's great, Chris. Thanks for making that so clear. That's helpful. Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments?
I'll just add that the election that you spoke of was a by-election created because of the vacancies after the election in October.
Yes.
And those roles are only until the AGM
AGM.
at the end of April.
Yeah.
Where there will be another election.
Yeah,
But moving forward, BCSDA will think we're moving into 2-year terms.
yes,
So
that's
that should
true.
be lovely. Instead of the one. Anyone else?
Rebecca, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
The notion of us like attending the UBCM conference, for example, I've often wondered about that. And, you know, I mean, I know that we're all pretty stretched. Has there ever been the suggestion in the years that you've been doing this that might be a good idea? And did you ever attend for the SLRD? Like, do you think there would be utility in that?
I did attend once when I was the alternate chair for regional district. But it was we've never had the conversation at this table. As far as I know. And I'm not sure where the value would be. I think we're better off trying to work with the municipalities that we're engaged with.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, thanks.
Anyone else? Oh, Lisa?
I've been to UBCM meetings. Besides your networking of different ministers, not quite sure how much it's evolved since I was in there, but it's
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, then that moves on to Cynthia, you're up again, the board chair and district liaison partner meeting. If we
Okay.
can be as brief as possible.
Oh,
please.
yeah. Okay, now I have to find it. Oh, there it is. Central Council, Board Chairs meeting. Board Chairs meeting, it was again excellent. The focus was on anti-racism and anti-oppression. BCSTA is looking for gaps in their policy as they work to create policies on anti-racism and anti-oppression. Look for a survey and be sure to fill it out. I'm trying to just highlight these things. Oh, it might take a minute, but I have to really speak to the keynote speaker, Dr. Jerome Cranston. He's absolutely fantastic, inspiring. The key takeaways there, it was from the University of Manitoba. The key takeaways I wrote down are, what are our responsibilities to those who came before us, and how do we honor their lives which were stolen and their futures cut short? I just thought that was a very powerful sentence in his talk, and it really it kind of really like made a big impact, just that line right there. He considers himself to be a critical race scholar who looks at us and says, it is all of us in this together, working together to find solutions. So another key takeaway just from what he spoke. Racism is the pandemic that is not going away because we live in systems based on race and race-related systems. He said cognitive dissonance is good. And we grew up in a world that contains hidden frameworks that we do not even recognize. Cognitive dissonance happens when we find out where those hidden exemptions exist. So he was fantastic. Just bringing those key points right to the forefront, I think, just really hit home in how important the work is to get our anti-racism, anti-oppression, those policies in place and to make them really strong and work hard to dismantle racism and systemic systems that we become aware of. So excellent. Oh, he said in policy development, when it comes to this particular topic, that perhaps hard and fast rules should be attached to your policies. I'll leave that and you can make that. You can interpret that how you wish. I thought it was a pretty bold statement though. That's all I have for the board chairs meeting. Then the following day was the liaison meeting, which was also interesting. If I could find, I thought it would be so clever to have this all on the computer, but clearly would have been better if I just wrote it down on a piece of paper. Liaison meeting. Okay, the liaison meeting. Oh, yes. We had Minister Singh and Minister Lor there. They spoke about the funding. They spoke a lot about the funding that has been provided to education. Spoke a lot about the funding that had been provided by education. A little bit too much, I thought.
Yeah.
What else? We already know that this money has been provided to us. What else? Under the new initiatives, they spoke about the new reporting order. Then we moved on to keynote speaker, Vicki Phillips, who is the CEO for the National Center of Education and the Economy. And she spoke about the strengths and the power of youth. I thought this was actually fairly inspiring and really helped you understand the power of youth. And she gave some insight into the ways she felt that youth thought and wanted us to approach their education. She pointed out that 41% of the world's population is under 21 years of age. 41%. It's like, yeah. She believes that she explained that she felt through her research that youth believe in the power of the collective. And so I thought that was really nice to hear, given that our education plan focuses on collaboration as one of the key elements of our education plan. So I liked how those two things coincided. She said that they're solution seekers, and whereas adults tend to treat things in silos, youth see the interconnection between issues and problems. And again, I felt like everything she spoke about and highlighted as how she sees youth being in this world today really coincided with what our education plan looks like and the way that we've built learning in our district. So I loved that, it just reaffirmed that what we're doing seems to be the right thing and that we're on the right path. And then towards the end of the day, there was a conversation about how a trustee code of conduct is going to be developed at the provincial level. And I see that as a good thing. And that pretty much sums up very quickly what happened over the course of 2 days. If you have any questions, well, let me know. Chris, if you want to jump in with anything that you might have noticed or want to comment on, feel free.
I think you did a fantastic job covering it. I'll speak to it briefly in my comments because we had an also meeting as well, but that was great.
Okay, great. There you go.
Great, thank you. Any questions, comments? Nope. Then that brings us to our BCSTA orientation series debrief for who attended. Anyone want to report out? It was just open, right? Okay, not saying anything, then the Robert Rules of Order debrief. Does anyone want to report out on that? I was not in attendance.
I will.
Okay,
I thought that it was great. It was really, I was really scared going into it. I actually didn't sleep very well the night before because I thought it was gonna be heavy. And I had the flu all weekend and I was like, I don't know if I can do heavy right now. And it was presented in such a way with so many personal examples that it really lightened everything and made things stick and made the whole thing, the entire book, which is the thing, far less scary. There was pages folded and things highlighted, and it was really great for the self-confidence of the entire program. So I was really grateful for it. Thank you.
that's awesome. Thank you. Anyone else?
And I also took it and we got breakout rooms with the 4 of us, so that was, I thought that was pretty good as well. We got to socialize a little bit and we got to check in.
Who's the 4 of us?
Cynthia, Danielle and Melissa and I.
Okay.
So we got our little breakout rooms and did a little bit of debriefing on situations, and our team were asking lots of questions. We're questioning group, so we're on the right track. We got a little bit of polishing to do on maybe one thing. Oh wow, motion before or after
the debate
Just-
part.
Yeah.
For a second, he
Yeah.
also changed his mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So.
And-
So there was no clarity there.
Well, he said, no, he basically said, no, I believe you're doing it wrong, and then like 15 minutes later said, well, you would do it this way, which is exactly how we do it.
how we
And I
do
was
it.
like,
So there was a little bit of
Yeah.
maybe, that's why I say maybe to do a little.
Yeah, I don't know.
But also I found it interesting, and I don't know if it's new, but, and maybe it's because of the Local Government Act, but we always had to have a seconder. And it looks like seconders aren't required at, so that was some
Oh.
new learning for me, that
Yeah.
seconders for
Yeah.
small
Under 12.
committees, boards aren't required to have a seconder. Unless it's within your constitutional bylaws, et cetera. So there was some.
It is?
Really don't have it.
But
Yeah,
he did say it's a good practice,
I
Yeah.
guess.
that it's not necessary.
Yeah.
So if you just accidentally forgot, like
Yeah. It's
I
okay.
sometimes do, and everyone launched into the conversation, they would say that because everyone engaged in the conversation, it was sort of like, that's consent. With everyone's
Right.
talking about it. So yes, obviously. it would.
And the
So
other,
sorry, I didn't mean to-
yeah, no, totally fine. It, Robert's rules of order.
I know, I'm not
However,
supposed to do that.
But the other thing that I found interesting too was, oh, shoot, so we had the small groups, but there was also. Small groups and. Sorry, it may come back to me. There's emotions.
Was it in the morning or the afternoon?
In the afternoon portion. That will be. Anyway. It's all good. But it was good. I was happy for the refresher, so I know it was a budgetary item, so I appreciate my flagging of my official Robert's Rules of Order book.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Thank you guys for attending. There aren't any other questions or comments on this. Can move on to the last item. We have trustee compensation motion. So I was contacted by Stasia on behalf of the branch. And this has come up in past quite a few times. But they're hoping to have a bit more weight. They've already put it forward from the district. But they were hoping to get our support as well. And what it is they would like the BCSTA, I'll just read it out, that the BCSTA gather data from their membership and create resources / tools that will assist boards in determining an appropriate trustee remuneration for their district. One that will attract diverse community representation of trustees on boards of education. So this is from the trustee compensation throughout the province. It varies drastically with the different districts. So they want to make sure that they're compensating, that we're being compensated fairly. That being said, our district did some work into this a couple of years back and determined that, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think we determined that we are being compensated fairly. My personal view on this is that I have no problem supporting our branch in asking that this review be done on a provincial level. So not sure what anyone else thinks. on it.
May I?
Yeah.
So just so everybody's aware, there's a survey that's done every year for all the school districts. I'm just gonna check. Celeste, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you really well, Danielle. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thanks. And so like the secretary treasurer fills it in every year. And then we fill in how much the trustees' compensation is. And then we all get the stats every year. So we do have that information already. So that's nothing new. And we do have a process for looking, like a procedure for determining the salary, which is looking at that, the stats that they give us. So I just wanted to provide that information. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And who does that survey go to?
To secretary treasurers.
No, who do you send it back to then?
Oh, sorry. It's
Ministry or is it BCSD?
no, I think it's BCSDA. Yeah.
Cynthia, you had your hand up?
Yeah, can you read out what they're asking again? Because it sounds like maybe what they're asking for already exists.
So that
That's what I
BCSDA gather data from their membership and create resources or tools that will assist boards in determining an appropriate trustee remuneration for their district. One that will attract diverse community representation of trustees and boards of education. That last piece, I'm not too sure about.
Yeah,
However, it's not just gathering what everyone pays. It's saying, let's look at the work that's being done and ensure that it's equitable. That's my interpretation of it.
I think you're right on that as well. I think they're trying to discover. Like just looking at other messaging that's gone out, they're asking, could you write us and let us know how many hours you're spending on such and such, such and such, such and such. So I think they are trying to do something more than just look at compensation, but if they are only looking at compensation, then we already have that information.
Yeah, it looks to me that it's deeper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I don't think that it hurts to have more information. Because I do know that there are some districts that are compensated quite significantly. They would report out on it. That's how we know.
Yeah,
But I think it goes a little deeper than that. Stasia would like me to send her an answer today, once we've had this conversation. They've already moved forward with it and they would like to add our name, our district, if we're in support.
and that would come forward to AGM.
Yes.
I think that kind of information, sorry.
Yep.
Is always interesting.
Yeah.
And important for the future, and it gives us a baseline, and if nothing changes this year, then if they were to look in 5 years, they could say easily, this is what we found in the budget.
Yeah. Anyone else?
And
Lisa?
also my thinking is it will give other people who are considering running for the position background knowledge on what is involved. Because quite frankly, so I think it's,
just so you guys know, when at the beginning, like when the election, before the elections happened, we did put on information sessions that did discuss exactly how compensation was determined. So it's out there and it was out like on our website and everything.
no, I don't mean the compensation per se, I mean the work. So if it tag teams into the work and they're digging a little bit deeper and they're trying to encourage alternate humans to step forward into the roles, then information is power, right? So if we're able to pinpoint, you're going to spend X number of time at a meeting, you're going to be invested in, you're going to be doing just kind of like a job description for trustees so that you know what
What to expect.
to expect.
Cynthia?
Actually, Chris had his hand up before me.
I was gonna say, I think it sounds like what they're looking for is some consistency around that, because again, in our sharing out and our various opportunities across the corridor for folks to become involved, we had a full PowerPoint information page on things like hours, the jobs, time, all of it, but I don't know that that's the case everywhere.
Mhm.
And I also can't confirm that even the supply of information to and through Secretary Treasurers is consistent across the province. We do it, but what I'm hearing maybe is just, again, I think you made that point, or someone else said at the table, just a more gathering so that there's a more consistent approach and understanding. And I agree, the more information that's understood, wherever those things are in common, is how can it not be beneficial?
Yeah.
Right? I don't personally, as your CEO, I don't see any issues or dangers for this board to, take part in that. So
Yeah.
up to you.
Anybody else? Do we need a motion?
I think there's power in making a motion on this kind of a thing. when you-
Well, when it's involving the branch.
Yeah, I would say so.
Mhm.
Would the draft one for us? Actually, it's gonna draw something.
Okay, which is really good.
Could say, are you writing something? Say the Board of Education supports the South Coast branches. I don't know what you have. What was the wording there?
Just take it right from there and drop it in.
So this is based just on branch 46 on
Mhm.
Sunshine Coast.
Is it SD 48 supports
The
the
South Coast branch.
SD 46 motion. System.
Proposed
removed.
motion around trustee compensation. Something like that.
Sure.
It's going to them so that they'll understand what we need. So I think it could be. super
Yeah, because what she would like to do is if we support, then Stasia will contact BCSTA to add
That's right.
District 48
Mhm.
to this request.
Right.
Mhm.
And I suspect probably 47 as well. would be-
I think they maybe already did from something else
Yeah.
I read at some point. 47 already said that they would support it.
Okay, well, this is just showing 46 on what she sent me, so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure maybe in conversation or at some point.
How are you doing there? Okay.
Good, that the Board of Education supports the SD 46's proposed motion around trustee compensation.
Remuneration, I think is the word they were using.
Trustee remuneration.
I'll change that word to remuneration.
Thank you. For consistency. And I'm still gonna ask for a seconder for that.
I will second.
Thank you, Cynthia. And any objections? Seeing and hearing none, then that is carried. And I will say that we have completed the business of this agenda and we are adjourned. And welcome, April.
Hello, guys.
Hi.
April.
I think we're gonna take 5 and then we'll go into our in camera.
Okay,
Thank you.
it's probably
We're
gonna take.
we're running a bit behind, but we'll all have to log back in, so maybe 10.
Okay, I will log back in right away.
I might have looked